Welcome to Rouse's on Chop the Toolist for today's episode of NewOrleans.Football presented by PJ's Coffee. We're coming to you from the mobile Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute podcast studio. And if you're in the market for a new car, check out my guy Matt Bowers at one of his many great locations all throughout the region. He has all different types of cars and great prices this holiday season. We got a really good show for you guys today. I'm Nick Underhill. He's Mike Triplett. That's Brandon Thomas B. Where do we start with?
We're starting with our first topic presented by Rouse's Markets, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. First topic is, what do we expect from Spencer Rattler against Green Bay? This will be his fourth start, his fourth time coming in as the starter this week. Last week, of course, we saw him come in the second half and make an impact. But what do we expect to see him do against the Green Bay Packers on Monday Night Football?
Well, obviously, everything we've seen from him before in his first three games in this last game, it was identical. It was exactly the same.
Yeah.
Now, look, somewhere in between. Look, I think this last game was probably a little too good to be true.
Yeah.
And I think the first three games, as luckily for him, he got the chance to prove, were also not reality. He was playing behind like three missing offensive linemen, and then two of their backups went out too.
Yeah.
It was just really unfortunate circumstances. So I think the truth lies somewhere in the middle. I think Green Bay on Monday night would be a very difficult place for him to play. I think it will help that he'll have the entire week to get prepared and take all the reps in practice. He's got the full offensive line in front of him. I think that'll help. I think last week had to be a confidence boost. I think he's talented.
Sure.
I think he's poised. I think he's comfortable. It's not too big for him, but he's still a rookie with 3 career starts under his belt. So I expect a little bit of a reality check against one of the probably top 6 or 7 teams in the entire NFL, if not better. So somewhere in between. Bold prediction there.
I mean, what an opportunity for him. If he wants to make the case that, hey, I'm the guy, get rid of everybody else, roll with me, let me show you what I got.
Yeah.
You can't ask for a better stage than this. You're going to go into Green Bay. You're not going to have any of the offensive weapons. You got the offensive line, though. Both your receivers are out. Taysom's out. Alvin will probably be out. Like, you aren't going to have anyone to help you carry load. So if you go out there and you kill it, that is an undeniable showing.
No question.
The problem for him is that I think it's going to be really hard. I think it's going to be really, really hard. Like everything you said, tough atmosphere, tough opponent, probably going to be behind early. They're going to be able to tee off on you a little bit. I think it's going to be a really hard test for him.
Mike, you talked about Green Bay being one of the top 7 teams in the league. Let's look at their losses. Their losses are 2 times to the Lions, which, I mean,
fair,
probably will represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. The Vikings, who, man, it's crazy to see that these 3 teams are in the same division, playing great football. We saw Monday night. Chicago, not the best test to say, oh, look at how great we are, but they're still doing their thing. And then the Eagles, who we saw
Man,
firsthand.
I didn't realize that. Yeah. Those are their only 4 losses?
Yeah. Who came out here first.
They might be the Super Bowl team, like from the NFC. Like, they might be the Super Bowl team.
Yeah, because Detroit's injuries are so bad. You just said Detroit might be the NFC. Yeah, except for they've had more injuries than the Saints this year. They're just bad news after bad news after bad news. You kind of feel for that team. Philadelphia's obviously in that mix. But you're right. Green Bay is just as good as anyone. In their ceiling is just as high. And obviously they're going to be the home team in this game on Monday Night Football. And kind of a team rolling right now too. So really tough matchup for the Saints. It would be huge for Rattler. It'd be huge for Rizzi.
Yeah.
But it'd be huge for good reason, because what are they, 14-point underdogs? I mean, the odds are stacked against them. And the worst part of this matchup is Saints have this run defense that's been pretty lousy all year. Josh Jacobs is running the ball as well. I mean, just everything will conspire to make the Saints have their handful. So Spencer Rattler's going to have to be really special. But look, he just was. He entered a game down 17-0 the other day, and I thought those circumstances would be too tough for him to overcome. So he can really show us something.
Good thing for the Saints, this is a Monday night game and not a Sunday night game. Sunday night's low is 8 degrees. It is currently, as of this moment, 26 degrees in Green Bay. The low's 25 on Monday. I mean, that's cold, but it's not Arctic
it's
cold.
Not 8.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to the wind, honestly. Like, when you're talking about those cold temperatures, a still 30 isn't that bad, but a moving 30 is absolutely bitter. So We'll see. But yeah, 8 degrees the day before, so they got a little bit lucky there. I mean, look, man, I feel bad for America though, because this is not the game that should be on Monday Night Football. But maybe Rattler will show him something, and really, if he does, what an amazing showcase.
When ESPN cut the highlights and they were putting together the reel to put out to promote it, I was just like, half of these people are not even going to be out there.
Like, who are they going to put? Like how they do like the comparisons, and like the one year like the Patriots played and they didn't have any players, so they just threw like Belichick.
Well,
up there.
I'll tell you
like,
who
is
they
it
would
be
play.
Rizzi?
Spoiler alert: the second segment is about Alvin Kamara. That's who it would be, and now we don't know. But his status, which would also really, really hurt Spencer Rattler. I mean, what a security blanket Alvin Kamara is. He's the only security blanket left on this team.
Yeah.
And so if he's going in without
save
Chris
it
Olave,
let's
right?
get to
about to say-
But what I'm going to
Introduce it.
say is, as that affects Spencer Rattler, I think that greatly affects Spencer Rattler's ability to have a good game is whether or not Alvin Kamara plays.
Hell of an assist, Mike. Let's go into our next segment presented by Urban South. What's the latest on Alvin Kamara's injury?
I mean, I think there's probably a good chance he doesn't play in this game. All signs are pointing to it. They just signed Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Rizzi said he went for a second test. Didn't want to say if it was major or minor. If it's minor, you always say it's minor, so that probably means that it's major. All signs point to it. We got a 2. We got another 2, and I think pretty soon we're going to have the 4. I'm not expecting to see him. Monday night. Initially it was kind of like, no, it's cool, and I think it's maybe a little bit worse than expected.
Yeah.
So my guess right now is definitely out. If you're in the fantasy playoffs, go get Kendra before somebody else hears this and gets him, and have him in there, because you aren't going to be able to make the change. You have him on your roster because, like, if you're waiting until Monday night, like, I would be ready for it. I'm not expecting to see him at practice. I think he's probably going to be out. This game at least.
No question. And speaking of fantasy advice, because that is a Monday night game, and if you're holding out hope for Kamara and somebody did beat you to Kendra Miller, if you've got a flex spot, make it Marquez Valdez-Scantling or one of the Packers receivers or something, but make sure you have a plan B for
Yeah, and
Alvin
if you
Kamara.
haven't seen our video on it, I mean, there's no doubt that if there's any possibility of playing, he's going to exhaust every option. They do all the rehab. They're already spending 20, 30 hours a week. I'm sure when there's an injury, that number goes way up. So I would expect him to exhaust all possibility, and if he can't play, like, he really can't play. And I mean, look, I'm just not. I think sometimes there's serious injury, and I think this is one that's probably just the signs are pointing toward it being at least extremely doubtful on Wednesday, and that's not a good sign if you're feeling that way midway through the week.
I've heard a lot of commentary, mostly fantasy talk this week, like, oh, the Saints are out of it, so they're going to be extra cautious with Kamara. He's going to be extra cautious. What does he have to play for? I don't think that factors in. I think if he can come back, he will come back. He's still got that 1,000 yards to come back from, but the injury might not allow it.
Yeah, 50 yards away.
Yeah.
Alvin's not like. We know Alvin's not shutting it down. Like, he's not shutting it down. He's not packing it in. He's not, well, the season's over, so I'm not going to. He's not that person. He isn't. He played with a broken hand while he was trying to get a contract. He played with a hip pointer while he was trying to get a contract. And I think that's kind of related to the injury that, in that abdominal area was all messed up. And, like, he was playing with that while waiting for a contract. No security. I mean, no, there's no way. There's no way that that's just wrong. It's just flat out wrong. And I understand the point of view, but like that isn't who he is.
Right.
It's flat out wrong.
The other thing, though, people jump to a conclusion. Oh, they just signed Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I've heard of him. He's a former first-round pick. Jamal Williams used to play for the Packers. He's going back home. We think this is Kendra all the way.
Kendra
right?
all the way.
Yeah. I mean, like.
Kendra all the way.
Not a timeshare,
Yeah.
not a workload share, like Kendra showcase time, right?
But most likely, I mean, if he can't pass protect though, like it'll be some rotating.
Fair.
You'll see some Jamal stops, probably more than you want. You'll probably see him on running some routes on third downs, and it'll probably irritate you. And it just is what it is until he's better at pass pro. But yeah, I think if the bulk of the carries are not Kendra Miller, like straight up malpractice.
We talk about Alvin. For our audio-only listeners, he got a groin injury after Sunday's game. I think it happened on the creation of Adam. I don't know if y'all know that art piece, The Creation of Adam, like when he stuck his hand
Did they
out.
do that one? Did that website do that one?
I didn't see it,
Okay.
but in my mind, that's the first thing I associated with when I saw the play because the way he stretched out to get that ball, hell of an effort. But Nick, you mentioned it earlier. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was signed to the team's practice squad. Louisiana. What's up, man?
Did you just reference a meme that does not exist?
No.
I think you did.
Art piece, man. Art piece.
But I think like you referenced like an internet meme that's not real.
In my mind,
okay.
The way he did it when I saw it, the catch.
You realize we didn't see what was in your mind though. Like that isn't.
I'm just like Michelangelo. Right. I'm painting pictures, baby. This is what we doing.
I'm just making sure. So okay. Sure. Yeah, no, you referenced the meme. That's not. All right. Well, let's just move on from it. Let's just move past it.
But Clyde, Louisiana kind of legend 2019. We know what he's capable of since he's been in the league. Kind of showed it, kind of not. But I mean, he's down home now in Louisiana. Hopefully that can help him with the things that he's been working on. But, man, your Kendra article, if you haven't checked it out, make sure you check out Nick's article on Kendra by subscribing to NewOrleans.Football. Like you said, it would be malpractice to not see him get an abundance of touches.
Yeah, I mean, they've just kind of had a weird thing, though, with, like, a preference for certain players. And you know, it took a while at even wide receiver to, like, kind of work through it. And, like, I get starting with Tipton, but it kind of became apparent, like, you know, hey, give somebody else a shot. And it took them probably a little too long to get to Kevin Austin, and I think it's taken them a little bit too long to have the trust in Kendra Miller. I mean, you know, if that's the biggest criticism of the offensive staff, like it's not it's a pretty good place to be, but, like, I think it still warrants criticism, like how they've kind of been a little bit reluctant to lean into better players that seem to be behind players they fell in love with in camp. Ochsner Hospital for Orthopedics and Sports Medicine on Clearview Parkway is celebrating 5 years of exceptional achievements. The hospital's integrated team has successfully performed over 20,000 surgeries using the latest in cutting-edge technology. With nationally recognized services and impactful partnerships, they continue to lead the advancement of orthopedic and sports medicine care in our region.
Rouse's Markets is voted best grocery store in New Orleans, best grocery store in Baton Rouge, Mississippi, Gulf Coast, Thibodaux, Houma, Hammond, Lake Charles, Mobile, year after year. Thank you for choosing us best grocery store on the Gulf Coast. Number one. Thank you.
Thank you.
The number one grocery store
In Mississippi, Alabama,
Louisiana. 1 million customers a week can't be wrong. Welcome to Rouse's.
The NewOrleans.Football show is proudly presented by PJ's Coffee. PJ's Coffee has some of the best drinks that you can find. They have locations all over the city. They have pastries and everything else you need to get your day started. So go check them out. NewOrleans.Football is proudly sponsored by Urban South Brewery, the makers of Paradise Park Lager. I love supporting local breweries, and when looking for a refreshing, easy drinking beer, I always recommend Paradise Park. In fact, I think it might be the best game day beer out there. If you want something a little lighter, try Paradise Light. It's everything I love about Paradise Park with just 96 calories and 2.6 carbs. And if you're looking for a family-friendly place to watch the game, I'd recommend Urban South's Tap Room in the Lower Garden District. They've got 15 TVs, 30 unique beers on tap, and mouth-watering urban smash burgers. The whole family will want to make Urban South their new living room, because at Urban South, they take laid back seriously. Looking for the best insurance coverage at the lowest price? Look no further than Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency. They are a local independent insurance agency right here in New Orleans, specializing in home, flood, and auto insurance. At Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, their dedicated team will shop every available carrier in the market, ensuring you get the most comprehensive coverage at the lowest possible price. Why settle for less when you can have the best? Trust Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, to protect what matters most to you. I do. I've been a client of theirs since 2021. Call them today at 504-326-6526 or visit them online at Protected by Chabert. That's 504-326-6526. Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, your local insurance experts. Hardhide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey is an 86 proof blend of aged wheat bourbon, American light whiskey, and fresh Ponchatoula strawberries. Blended in New Orleans, it is not for the thin-skinned. Look for it in your favorite stores, bars, and restaurants. NewOrleans.Football is proud to be sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Make sure you check out their location on Veterans Boulevard. Attention Saints fans, don't let pests and termites invade your home field. Trust the team at Red Pest Solutions to tackle those unwelcome visitors. Call the Red Man today for unbeatable pest and termite control. Score peace with no pest. Visit redpest.com, REDDPEST.com.
Welcome back to the mobile Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute podcast studio here at Rouse's Markets on Chapatulas. It's time for our next segment presented by Shawbear Insurance, the Earhart Agency. We talked about what we expect to see from Spencer Rattler, but can faith in Darren Rizzi decrease after this Monday Night Football game, tough matchup against Green Bay?
Yes and no. I mean, yes, if they go out and they lose 52-7 or something like that, I think it's that. Or if there's, some major mismanagement or something, yeah. I will say to Rizzi's credit, though, I think one of his major strengths so far has been game management, in clock management and strategy and all that stuff. So I'd be really surprised to see something like that kind of happen on that level. But I think it'd be tough. If you're being honest and logical about the situation, and you're literally talking about an offense now that has the offensive line and no other starters.
Yeah.
You kind of have to be a little bit realistic about that, I think, and kind of put something, something logical in your, it's just if you go out and you lose 38-20 or whatever, okay, you did it with nobody on the field. And I understand, everyone, oh, no excuses, Dan Campbell doesn't make excuses, whatever. Rizzi ain't making excuses. I'm not making excuses for Rizzi. I'm just saying, as I evaluate it, I'm not going to judge a Rouse's off of the state of an Aldi. That's not where you went. It's not fair. It's not fair to kind of do it that way. But, I mean, there are things in here that are going to be fair to judge. But, it can decrease. But I think it would be – I don't know what it would have to look like. I can't sit here and tell you, just offensively going into it, my expectations are dirt low because you don't have possibly Alvin, you don't have Derek Carr, you don't have Chris Olave, you don't have Rashid Shaheed, you don't have Taysom Hill. It's a lot. It's a lot.
For the sake of expressing how bare the cupboards are, will Spencer Rattler be categorized as the third-string quarterback?
I think that's disingenuous a little bit. They went to him the first time, and I think you're in major spin zone at that point if you're trying to say well, no, they're on their third string quarterback.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
They would only use that term if he was your third choice and he's their second choice.
Yeah,
gotcha.
The other choice is available.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah, that's major spin zone if you're going there. But yeah, look, not making excuses for him. He definitely can lose some stature here, and when we're sitting there, breaking down the game on Monday, Tuesday, I might feel completely different. But as I sit here now, it's damn, all these guys are gone. Don't have your top two corners that you entered the season with. It is an extremely depleted team right now.
To emphasize how deflated everything is, the topic is, can faith in Darren Rizzi decrease after a loss at Green Bay? The topic is not, can Darren Rizzi improve his stock with a win at Green Bay? Because none of us are even treating that like it's possible. Obviously, he has way more to gain than he has to lose.
He goes into Green Bay.
If he goes
and
into
beats
Green Bay and wins, we're
Get
talking
serious
about
quick.
did he just win the job?
Yeah.
So he has a lot more gain than to lose. We think he probably will lose. The only thing that's a negative for me is, Washington could have been a real signature win if they had pulled off that unthinkable comeback. That wasn't a signature win. The Rams are a good team that I think is going to end up winning that division. Fairly competitive, lost by a touchdown, got down there and almost tied it toward the end. But if in the end they get one more win against the Raiders, then they also lose to Tampa Bay, and he finishes 4-4, and all his losses are to playoff teams, and all his wins are against bad teams. When you look at it as a whole, that's going to be so he just went 4-4 also. He only beat teams with losing records also. It'll be harder to make the case that, but no, I swear, if you were there and you were watching it, he revived this team. So I think any loss that makes it to where he could finish with a 3-5 record or a 4-4 record as an interim really hurts his case. But no, I mean, it's going to take a miracle for this to be one of the ones he wins.
If the idea of winning the job exists, I feel like Washington probably, if I'm a general manager of an NFL team, the Washington game goes down as a positive in my book. And honestly, seeing the things in the adjustments and how he overcame, how he kept the team together. I think the adversity quote in there was probably more positive than just winning a narrow game. It felt like they won
an impression.
Game.
It made a very strong impression.
But honestly, I don't think that I don't think the idea of winning the job even probably exists. I think you're probably gonna run your process, and I don't think there's anything where they're going into this and saying Darren Rizzi's the coach. They already made that mistake, and the last time by kind of having their everything figured out and knowing where they were going, going into it. I would imagine that they're going to just run it differently this time. But look, I think to this point he's done a pretty good job, and I think he has a nice a nice resume to set down and to discuss. Does that mean he gets the job? No, I don't think that necessarily. I think you run your process, and either he's the best candidate or he's not, and we'll kind of see at the end. But just even looking at it, like even if you just like winning the job, like I don't know, like I think you just have to run your process, like no matter what. Even if you won every game, I think you have to run your process. Like you owe it this time to the process to run a different process.
For sure. We've seen player energy be high kind of consistently throughout the Rizzi era, except for the first half of last week's game where it just completely just looked done.
I didn't like the energy in the Giants game either. We talked about that being a win that counts as a loss. Like so, that was a 1.5 games where it was pretty uninspiring. I think.
But if this team comes out and just looks completely lifeless, just across the board, then I think that is where it's like, oh well, the fairy dust is ran out. It's kind of cooked.
To be fair, I feel like maybe the lifelessness was just more in
Their
inability to move the ball. Like I don't think it was like an energy thing. I think it was it was an inability thing. And then once you cured the inability, you put a little
everything
Neosporin in that cut, like it changes things a little bit.
Yeah, coming out and showing life when you're down 17-0 against the Commanders showed that the life was always there.
Yeah,
it's the skill.
That
skill
was,
equation.
Yeah, Giants felt flat.
Although the defense did play good in that Giants game.
Let's roll into our next segment presented by Urban South. Is it time to make Foster Moreau the lead receiving tight end? Just to break it down, Foster Moreau currently has 23 receptions on the season, 302 receiving yards, and 4 touchdowns. Now, Jawan Johnson, he's third on the team in receiving with 36 receptions, 375 receiving yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now, look, if you want to become a highlight receiver on this team, come on down, because all you need is 73 yards to swing between 3rd and 6th. Alvin and Chris Olave are the top 2, and those are guys that probably won't be seen.
Yeah, to make a topic short, we could just probably move on with this. Yes. I mean, yeah.
He's been making tough catches all year, opportunities. Like they just never see. He makes a great catch, and then you don't see him again. He tied his – okay, so he had 4 targets in week 1, and then he has tied that 3 times now in the last 4 weeks. 4 targets against Cleveland, 4 targets against the Rams, 4 targets against Washington. And he caught all 4 of them in this last game, including that touchdown. Up to 4 touchdowns now. It just screams that he's been underutilized for sure.
Yeah, I don't think they designed really anything for him. I bet if you go through those 23 catches, I bet there's probably what looks like maybe 4 or 5 design plays for him out of it. A lot of them are improvised. Like it's outside of the structure of the play. He had a great one last week. That was definitely outside of the structure of the play. I don't know what the catch rate is, but I would bet it's over 90%. Targets or receptions. How many targets has he got? Someone look it up. I bet it's over 90%. He looks sure-handed and he makes plays. And I think that they need to figure out how to tap into that a little bit more. He's had a really good season to this point, and down this stretch, I would like to see them lean into it just so you kind of know going into next year. Like, could he be featured a little bit more in that?
I definitely think he's the equivalent of like a Lil Wayne lighter flick at the beginning of a song. Like he's a spark guy for the team. Like even in that Giants game when they were looking a little bit flat, he caught that one-handed catch down there and it created some spark for the team. Last week created some spark for the team. And even in the beginning of the season, just constantly creating a spark for the team.
31 targets, 25 last year. I didn't make up that 25. It was last year's. It was 25. Yeah. 31 this year, but still that's a really good number, and I would wonder how many of those are catchables, like a lower number than 31 even. But his catch rate is really good. 21 catches on 25 targets last year. Obviously had the huge drop in the end zone.
He's at 80% as a Saint.
Yeah.
Total Maintenance is one of the largest locally owned home and commercial service providers in South Louisiana and serve the greater New Orleans and Baton Rouge markets. They have a membership program that gets you 2 tune-up visits for AC and heating, as well as club membership discounts of 15% on all repairs, half off of all diagnostic charges, and 3-year warranties on most repairs for membership clients. This is usually priced at the low price of $24.95 a month per system, but if you tell Total Maintenance that you found them through NOF, they'll lower the price to $20.95 per month per system for as long as you keep the membership active. Services include AC and heating, service and replacement, electrical service, plumbing service, as well as generator service and installation. They are Total Maintenance. Find them at tm-ac.com or give them a call at 504-841-3300, or if you're in the Baton Rouge area, 225-480-1000. There's always that one person on your holiday shopping list that's just impossible to find the right gift for. They have everything they want, and there's nothing they need. So what do? This year, head up to Boudreaux's Jewelers on Metairie Road and get that special someone a limited edition Breitling Saints watch. That's right. That's a Breitling watch with the Saints fleur-de-lis right on the face. Only 104 of these were made, so if you're looking for something special, this absolutely meets the mark. Boudreaux's Jewelers has been around since 1933, and they have a great selection of handmade jewelry, watches, and rings. It's the perfect destination for your holiday shopping. Boudreaux's Jewelers at 701 Metairie Road in Metairie. Martin's is your go-to destination for everything merry and bright this holiday season. From an unmatched selection of bourbon, whiskeys, and wines to gourmet food, gift baskets, and catering, Martin's has all your holiday needs covered. Family owned and operated since 1946, Martin's knows the perfect ways to celebrate this season with loved ones. Visit them in Metairie, New Orleans, or Baton Rouge, or shop online for the ultimate convenience. Whether you're raising a glass or looking for the perfect holiday gift, make it an easy and cheerful holiday with Martin's.
Score big with Saints Score. Win up to $100,000. Enter the second chance drawings for cool Saints prize packages. Play Saints Score scratch-offs from the lottery.
Hey everyone, with the holidays creeping up faster than your aunt's fruitcake recipe, I've got something way better to share with you. If you want to look sharp for all those festive gatherings and maybe finally win that Best Groomed at the Family Dinner award, check out the latest masterpiece from Manscaped, the Chairman Pro Electric Foil Shaver. Trust me, it's like Rudolph for your face, guiding you to a smooth, irritation-free shave. Head over to manscaped.com and join the over 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by using code NewOrleans for 20% off and free shipping.
There's nothing quite like the feeling of stepping into your dream home. At Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union, we can help make that dream a reality with a team dedicated to you. When you partner with Jefferson Financial, you do so for the life of the loan. Having a single point of contact when questions arise is invaluable. Our experts are here to guide you every step of the way. There's no better time to invest in your future. Apply online at jeffersonfinancial.org. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Whether you are a local New Orleanian or a fan in town for the game, get your pre- and post-game fired up at Aaron Rose. Local chaos and local love for the black and gold. Wake up and live with daily drink specials, mimosas, screwdrivers, Bloody Marys, and hot or frozen Irish coffees, all just $3 or $4 between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Aaron Rose, half a block from Bourbon Street in the French Quarter, 811 Conti Street.
Welcome to the Queen Casino, the crown jewel of entertainment destinations. From the thrill of gaming, where every spin and deal brings you closer to fortune, to the excitement of sports betting, where you can feel the rush of victory. Our spaces and catering menu are perfect for any event. From business meetings to grand celebrations, immerse yourself in our vibrant atmosphere with live music that keeps the party going all night long. Join us at the Queen Casino. Your royal adventure awaits.
Welcome back to the mobile Oshner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute podcast studio here at Rouse's Market on Chapatulas. It is now time for our Martin Wine and Spirit question of the day. Martin's is home to a wide selection of hand-picked barrel select bourbon, whiskeys, and more. Martin's, so much more than just wine. Today's question is, how big of a factor is Derek Carr's injury guarantee when it comes to keeping him or not for the 2025 season?
Mike Harley?
So look, he's due $40 million next year. Only $10 million of it is guaranteed as of now. $10 million roster bonus is guaranteed. It's offset, which means if they cut him, someone else signs him for up to $10 million, they could get it all back. They could save all $40 million. He does have the other $30 million guaranteed for injury only. Mm-hmm. That does not mean if he gets a hand injury and he doesn't play these last 3 games, he's guaranteed to get paid. That means if he suffers an injury so significant that he would not pass his physical in March, it's guaranteed. So, or if it's a career-ending injury, he has to pass a physical for them to cut him without paying that guarantee. So I guess in theory, you see this all the time. You see the Giants not playing Daniel Jones. You saw the Raiders not playing Derek Carr. You saw the Broncos not playing Russell Wilson because they just out and out had decided we're cutting this guy next year. Yeah. We don't want him to tear his ACL, and then all of a sudden we're on the hook for that $30 million. So for that reason, if the Saints had it in their mind already that they didn't want Derek Carr back next year, they probably wouldn't want to play him again. The hand injury doesn't really have anything to do with that unless he got like a more severe injury if he came back and played. I don't think the Saints have made that determination. I think, if anything, the odds say Carr will be back. I think it should be up in the air. We've talked a lot about paying him $40 million. Doesn't seem to match where this team is right now. But I certainly would be surprised. We've heard them say if Carr is healthy enough to play, he's going to play. This is not a team that is going to bench him to avoid the injury guarantee. I'd be pretty surprised if they did that.
Yeah, good choice on the rotisserie chicken, man. No, but look, to clear one other thing up too, there's a lot of stuff out there about Derek not coming back this year, and he might not come back this year, but it has not been decided at this point. They're trying to figure it out. He's trying to get healthy. He's doing all his rehab, and it's a similar injury. Josh Allen had it. They shot it up. They wrapped it. He played, and that is definitely a possibility for Carr. The question is can he get enough mobility in his hands where he can grip the ball, hand it off, support it while he throws. He can't go out there with that thing just, kind of locked in place. So they're trying to get it loosened up to where he can play, and then they can protect the fracture area if it comes to that. But he might not, there's a lot to overcome there. So I think it's fair to say that there's a significant injury, this type of injury that could require surgery in a lot of cases. Given the location of it, they opted against it, try to rehab it. So it can be played through, and he is not yet conceding the white flag on that. So until he does, that's where it's at. The question becomes, should they just move on at this point to the younger guy and let him just play out the season and then evaluate your options after? There's an argument for that, of course. That's going to do it for us on today's episode of NewOrleans.Football presented by PJ's Coffee. We're out here at Rouse's on Chapatoulas. Do all your grocery shopping here, the official supermarket of the Saints. Until next time, we'll talk to you then.